Howdy, everybody. Welcome to another Tuesday. How's it going, Adam?
How you doing, Mitch? I'm doing awesome, man.
Yeah, no, I'm doing good.
Open water is wrapping up, and fishing's been really hot, so I can't complain.
Yeah, the weather's coming today, too.
Hey, Broden, how you doing, brother? How you
Aaron?
doing, Aaron? Broden, I'm
Yeah,
interested
no.
to hear if you've got to put that slip bobber rod to use yet. That 10-foot light, that's my favorite rod if I'm spin fishing. You know, lots of action on it. So let me know some feedback on that on this episode if you've been using it or if you had some questions about using it or whatever, buddy.
Nice. Who was that, Broden or Aaron?
Yeah, that was Broden. Me and him had talked some slip bobber fishing. Um, and I use a 10-foot light rod, and I
Yeah.
find it with a slip bobber, it just picks up your slack so easy when you go to make that sweep hook set, as well as it just makes it super easy. I mean, I can just flick it like this and cast 40 feet. So it's really nice, really handy rod to use for stock trout and slip bobbers.
Sweet. Hey,
How's it
Jay.
going? Hooked up?
Good pa.
Wayne, how you doing?
What'd you get up to this weekend?
I was fly fishing still, which gets me excited because you don't really get that opportunity this late on a lot of the stock trout ponds, right? They're kind of in that slushy phase where they're almost ice, but you don't want to put the boat on it to break up the ice. You don't want to deal with the half ice all day. But
Yeah.
this year we're pretty lucky and still fly fishing, so it's been a blast. Everyone's saying the leeches have gone away; they've gone to sleep, and I beg to differ. And the rainbows and the browns seem to as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, leech pattern has been undeniably good.
Still, are you going with a bigger leech or are you downsizing?
Yeah, quite a big leech. I think I may have one here. I'm not sure. Not the proper size, no. But maybe like an inch and a half and real bushy with a
Yeah.
red collar on it. I find that little bit of red in the leech helps. I know I like to fish a bruised leech too, but that little bit of red in there I find is just tantalizing to the fish.
Tantalizing.
Tantalizing, my friend.
Nice. So you're
Yeah.
hitting up a stock pond this weekend then?
Well, this weekend, honestly, I've been stacking footage. So I think I'm gonna actually sit and maybe edit some of it for YouTube.
Nice.
I don't know. We'll see. That is the plan, but I always do get if I can find a break in weather to fish, I'm gonna fish it. It's gonna be pretty cold though, so we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting this weekend.
I know that probably not this weekend, but the following weekend, maybe some safe ice in some areas. So we'll go looking
Yeah,
for it anyway.
I know there's people wanting to go this weekend.
Around me, it's not going to happen. And like
Yeah.
I say, we might get out and chuck the fly rod, but it's questionable at best because it is going to be like minus 17, and frozen eyelets aren't my favorite thing to deal with.
Yeah, I hear that. I know up here we've got some cold weather, but last week and everything was pretty wide open.
Yeah, hey. Yeah, like I got all my ice rods ready to go. Like I got reels on them all. Everything's switched over. Anyone who knows me knows I'm not a big believer in buying the small ice reels, so everything's an open water reel. But I got that all switched over. I got the tackle box all dialed in. We're ready to go. We got the ice kit ready. Everything I need to do in one box, so I don't have to go searching around. Walleye, everything. Good man. Walleye mater bend good. Just like using a longer fly rod when indicator fishing takes up way more line on the hook set. Absolutely, bro. And that's the whole reason I love it is like it's got so much fight to it. Every fish feels like a great fish on it. It's an absolute blast.
For sure. Brody's saying
Monday,
Monday,
Tuesday. Right on, Brody. I hope you find that, and hopefully you got a nice suit on and some pics with you. Just be safe, buddy, and have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Right on. Down here, we're just not going to have it. I'm way, way down south, but I know it's coming, so I got everything switched over. I'm ready to go. I've been fishing hard lately, so.
Yeah, we have I don't know if it'll be ready. I know last weekend most of the stuff out west was still open,
Yeah.
but this week a week to freeze 3-4 inches. I don't know.
It's going to be like higher elevation stuff, I think, first. That's going to freeze for sure.
Yeah.
There's an area around me that's got higher elevation. I don't have to go too far to get out west, so we'll see what
Yeah.
happens. I'm not gonna chance it this weekend. Like I say, I got some things that I could do, but we'll see where I'm at.
Yeah, for sure.
Picked up some new line for some reels today. Remember, I didn't have any left. That's funny. What kind of line do you like to do? You like to use, Mitch? Like when you're ice fishing, are you a braid guy or you a mono guy, depending on the situation, kind of thing? Or
Depending on like the depth and the species. Like if I'm running like for brookies and stuff early season, anything under like 20 feet, I'll just run mono.
right?
4 to 6 pound.
Yeah.
I'm not too fussy.
See, I'm a big braid guy. Like almost everything I have has braid on it. Other than I do keep an ice rod with a slip bobber on it, so it does have mono. But
Yeah.
that's going to be mostly shallow water fishing, just for hook sets and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
I am a big like. I don't use fluorocarbon leaders. I use mono. Like I always use mono leaders, and I love it so much more. When you're chasing big walleye and you get big head shakes out of them, the little bit of stretch helps absorb. I know nowadays you get into the longer rods, the 39s and stuff like that, they're going to absorb a lot of that. But your mono leader, I mean, when you got a 3-foot leader, it's got probably 8 to 10 inches of stretch in there. So when a walleye decides to cut its head real quick at the hole, you're not going to snap off. Fluoro doesn't have that, so I try to steer away from fluoro myself.
Yeah, no, like this weekend, if I do get on the ice, if the ice is good, I like to have that mono just because I'll be outside walking on the lake. I'm not bringing a tent. That cold weather, I find the
Mm-hmm.
braid just ices up, sticks together
Yeah,
on my reel in that cold weather. And the mono
yeah,
doesn't seem to do that as bad.
yeah, yeah. It definitely does. The braid definitely freezes up like that on your reel, so it doesn't want to pull out. But
Yeah.
a thing that the old uncut angling Aaron Weeb legend taught me, and taught all of us, I guess, is that I always pull my line out all the time. So, like,
Yeah.
chances are, even when I'm fishing 20 feet, I'm pulling my line out off the tip anyways. I'll have my bail open at that point, but I'm always pulling my line off instead of just letting it fall. I don't know if that's impatience or what, but I think it's mostly impatience.
Yeah. Yeah. A few
Yeah.
weeks down south.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna search. Like, there's gonna be some places that I'm all right on 3 inches. So I'm a pretty light guy. So I'm definitely gonna be
Yeah.
headed out. If as soon as I find 2 or 3 inches, I'll test my luck. I don't fish deeper than over my head at that point, anyways. So braid
Yeah.
only for pike, braid only for everything, straight braid for trout.
Trout. Hey, Greg.
Hey, Greg. Good to see a
Yeah.
lot of
No,
guys on here tonight.
I like the braid when I get into like the walleye and stuff, like you said, like trout, pike, anything that's gonna
There's
pull a
just
little harder.
Absolutely, and I just like it for the fact, like I say, I like mono for the stretch. So then I play that double-edged sword, and I like braid as a mainline for the lack of stretch. Right, everything is super sensitive
Yeah.
compared to mono or even fluoro. Fluoro does have a little bit of stretch, right? So
Yeah.
can't fish braid for that reason. I can't stand ice all the time. Well, then move to Florida, Brody. Just kidding, buddy.
Rookies. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
like, is that going to be your first ice target? I know you're hunting right now. Hunting season's getting into full swing. But when you do get a chance to slip out, brookies and rainbows kind of thing for you, Mitch?
rookies and rainbows will be the first. Then probably I should be able to get on rainbows and perch maybe.
Yeah, hey, right on. Right on.
We'll see.
Yeah, I
That
think
lake's
I'll be.
kind of hit and miss on the ice. It can be shallow, good some spots, shallow in others. So
Absolutely. I think I'll be good for trout lakes for the next couple of weeks, but it'll be for me to get on the walleye and pike. I think it'll be a little bit still, depending. I mean, you only get 2 weeks out in the forecast, but the next 2 weeks looks pretty cold. So those bigger reservoirs will take a little bit longer, but we'll see what happens.
for sure.
I definitely want to get out after some early season walleye bite when they're shallow, chasing bait around. It's just so fun. You rip those wraps or spoons around,
Yeah.
and they're gonna come eat.
Yeah, they're super aggressive.
Absolutely.
Everything's pretty aggressive on that first ice, so it's a blast.
Right. And that's what I'm loving right now about this late open water season kind of thing on these stock ponds is everything's shallow, everything's eaten like super heavily, right?
Yeah.
So you don't even have to launch the tinner. It makes it a lot easier for the shore guys, you know. I like to cruise the shore more than I like to be on the boat. So it's nice to have those fish in shallow and casting distance.
Yeah.
Making for a lot of fun.
Yeah. For first ice trout, what's your go-to hooks? What's the hooks you're gonna use?
What is set up right off the bat? We're gonna probably have a hair jig. It's just a black marabou jig, a little bit of gold flash in there. That one's sitting on the jaw jacker. So
Yeah.
jigging, just bumping, you know, just real slow. You want something light, something small, but I like the black hair jig just because I'm a big leech fan, and you know, put a little minnow head on there, and you got yourself a delicious snack. Next to that, I'm jigging a Clio. Always got a Clio or something lighter. I actually got my box on me. So like something like Frostbite has that spoon there. I can't remember what it's called. There's
Dinner
like the
bill.
Tingler spoon, but having a light and a heavy spoon is definitely always on for early ice. Not so much if I'm fishing rainbows and tigers. I'll have a slab raft or something like that on.
Yeah.
Um, but not so much for brookies. I know a lot of guys do like to fish ripping wraps and slab wraps and all that stuff for brookies, but I just don't have the luck on them that other guys seem to have. So I'm a big spoon guy, and like I say, a hair jig or even a 3-inch tube. You know, tubes are big around in Alberta. A 3-inch
Yeah.
tube has caught me some really beautiful brook trout. So
Hey Ricky.
Ricky, there's a legend himself. It's
He's slaying the
appreciative to
birds right
be
now.
called a legend by that legend.
Yeah. He's just knocking off birds by birds right now.
You know what I love is Ricky has like super expanded like not that fishing is a bad hobby to have, but if you live like I do and probably Ricky did for a long time, it was like you don't do anything other than fish, and like I don't do anything other than fish. It's really cool to see Ricky like slingshot killing stuff and like popping birds. Like, yeah, bud, like that's sick. I'm happy to see that, buddy.
Yeah, he's on a mission right now.
Oh man, that guy's living the life. I'm stoked for him.
Yeah. Uh Ryan's asking about flies through the ice.
Absolutely. Balanced leeches, some chronomid stuff. If I'm fishing whitefish, that's like a big time when I use flies and nymphs. Well, basically, sorry, just nymphs or chronomids. Um, I'll pound a spoon. So say like whatever spoon you got, pound that spoon on bottom, and then I tie a chronomid or a nymph about 6-8 inches above that. When you're fishing whitefish, you pound that spoon in the sand, and the whitefish will come in because they're super aggressive. They'll come into the spoon, and 9 times out of 10, they'll take that bug right above it. So
Yeah.
I love fishing flies through the ice for certain species. Like I say, balanced leeches for trout on a jaw jacker, something like a hair jig is a little bigger version, but
Yeah.
I'll usually have something in line above this as well. So be it not a big boatman fan, people are going to call me out for saying this, but sometimes I'll fish a boatman underneath, or sorry, above my hair jig. But
Yeah.
definitely fish a lot of flies through the ice.
Yeah, I do the same. Little woolly buggers. I'll go tiny,
Absolutely.
like a pink head or an
Yeah.
orange head. then I don't know. These are tiny. I go small when
Do
we're
ya?
doing this. Like small damsel gold beadhead.
Oh yeah. See, like I'd do that. Like that's something I'm using if I'm fishing white. If
Yeah,
I'm
I do
fishing
it for
whitefish,
whites
I'm going really small above my spoon. I don't have anything with me, but
and
oh
small
yeah, yeah,
sand runs.
yeah,
The rubbers.
absolutely.
They're all good. Those lures I just put on the jaw jacker.
Yeah, and that's one thing like is like guys maybe don't realize sometimes is like just because fly season is ended doesn't mean you got to put your fly box away. And I'm glad Ryan brought that up. Is do you fish with flies through the ice? Is like so guys, those are gonna catch you a ton of fish. So if you got
Yeah,
nymphs, conimids, wire worms, stock up on those, and they're gonna help you.
they're all good. Lots of different colors. Reds always seem to be good.
Absolutely.
But
Nice box, Mitch.
yeah, my dad hooked me up. He was COVID tying.
Oh,
I'm lucky. I just get boxes. He gets on a roll, then I get everything he ties, and
hey,
then he
there
has
you
his own
go.
too. Then slender spoons,
Oh, absolutely, Sender spoons.
always a
This
favorite
is
for
like
me.
one of my favorite spoons. Oh, that's not the right color. Oh, I'm dropping stuff on the ground. Sorry, guys. I should have been more organized. This one's one of my favorite. It's a Tingler
Oh yeah,
spoon. Sorry,
yeah,
bro, and I'll get to that in 2 seconds, buddy. Um, but yeah, that golden black Tingler spoon. If you want a brook trout killer, this color right here. When, like I say, I run a heavier spoon and a smaller spoon.
yeah.
So, like I say, I have a brook trout video that I've talked about on the channel before here on my YouTube, where I'm actually showing how different it is when I'm fishing a heavy spoon like the Cleo, which isn't actually even that heavy. It falls kind of relatively slow compared to something super light like the Tingler. And I'll actually drop the Cleo down and I'm marking a fish, and I'm telling because hey, they're marking a fish, and watch this. And I switch it out because he's not eating, and I switch it out for the Tinger spoon. Boom, he eats it, and it happens multiple times in the video. So that's why I always say I always have two spoons tied on. If you see me, I got two, because the flutter is what makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Now, as for micro tubes, heck yeah, dude. Atomic
Yeah.
teasers,
Yeah.
what
They're
have you,
awesome.
like all different sorts of tubes. My biggest bull trout through the ice was on a 1 inch white and chartreuse, um, maybe like 16th ounce tube jig. Um, so yeah, like micro tubes are definitely a key bait. I don't use them as much per se as I used to because I have found other things that I kind of like working a little better. But it definitely doesn't mean that they don't definitely see the water in ice season.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Balance
Chris.
leach is 5 feet and under on a jacker. Absolutely. Certain westward reservoir gets awesome rainbows. Yeah, absolutely. Like I mean, there's all kinds of reservoirs around that, not just that one that are going to produce great trout on those balance leaches. So it's not like a lot of times you'll see, like, say I put out a YouTube video and you see me using something on a specific body of water. It's definitely transferable over to multiple bodies of water, because that's what we have to remember is we are a lot of times fishing stocked fish, and what do stocked fish eat? Everything. Like
Yeah.
you stocked rainbows will eat dog food if you can get it on your hook, really. Um, so it's getting something in front of them and getting something that you're confident in fishing is the biggest thing I find. So like I can tell you to go put a balanced leech on, but you could sit there with a medium rod and a balanced leech on all day, and you're not going to catch a fish because you're not going to feel it when it gets eaten. There's just certain ways you got to do things. Like if, for instance, if I'm fishing a balanced leech, a really light setup like that, I'm using something like an ultralight or a 39-inch light, something that low that if a fish eats it on the slightest movement, the rod loads right away, and that's how I know whether you're using a spring bobber or what have you. On a medium rod, you're not necessarily going to see that, and the fish is going to spit it out so fast you don't notice. So like all these methods are transferable across Alberta and Saskatchewan even into Manitoba. I mean, any body of water, really.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I like these plastics too. They're like 1.5 inches.
Oh, a split tail, yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
just the single tail, just wobbling that good.
Yeah.
But I've had
It's
great
giving me.
success.
It's like when you let that spring go behind the door, and you see it the whole way across. I
Yeah.
was seeing two tails there, and I'm sober.
Yeah, no, they work great with a little jig head. For
Absolutely.
if you're a little more aggressive, looks like a little minnow. Lots of action.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like, there's all sorts of local companies around making all these plastics. So support the local guys if you can, where you can, right? Like, everyone's got tons of different stuff on the market. So check them out.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
no
like,
hookup.
when I say things like the atomic teaser, like, I mean, that's just a relative term that it kind of relates to when most people, like, say you walk into, when you first go fishing, you walk into Canadian Tire to buy some stuff, right? What are you going to see on the shelf? An atomic teaser. That's why I say that stuff. So, like, you don't necessarily have to go by the brand, right? It's
Yeah,
support the local guys where you can.
for sure. Then you were talking about the setup for your trout rod. You're going with a light.
Yeah, so I go with a 39-inch light, and I'll grab one down here quick. 39-inch light, and basically, like, so this one's a tickle stick, right? It's got the highlighter yellow tip on it, which is like super nice. But like the slightest little motions at all load this tip. So if you're fishing something like a really small tungsten or balanced leech, something light, this is gonna, as soon as that fish takes that, this rod loads right away. So you know
Yeah.
to set the hook. If you don't have a flasher or something like that, you can't mark it right. You gotta have a rod that's gonna let you know. So that's why I like something like the 39. It doesn't have to be a 39, just a light, super light rod that's gonna load immediately when a fish eats it.
Yeah, for sure. And there's
Because
a
like
ton.
I can't fish a Clio on this rod, right? Like if I try to fish a Clio on this rod, it's gonna be ridiculous. And the
Yeah.
tip's gonna be bent the whole time. I'm not gonna know when a fish eats it. So I gotta move up to a medium light when I fish a Clio.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a bunch of different rods. Like this is a lunker hunter, first ice
Yeah.
light, and like the tip's like nothing.
Yeah.
So when you're marking something, I always like to just bring it up and you can just feel it, just getting that little bit of flex, right?
Right.
And the backbone on this is just insane.
Right.
Like it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And then
And see,
there's
like,
like Masuda's too.
yeah.
Super nice finesse tip, good back, and
Yeah.
they all do good loads. You really want that tip with a strong back.
Right. And like you got different options for that too, right? Like, so when I'm fishing walleye, I have couple different medium rods that I like to use. Um, one is graphite, and the other one is fiberglass.
Yeah.
Um, and reason is the way things load. So, say you're fishing a jigging wraps are a notorious bait for losing fish if your rod unloads too fast.
Yeah.
So a graphite rod has a lot more backbone um, per thick, like in diameter wise, comparative to a fiberglass rod. Um, but a fiberglass rod is going to load right into the handle. So when
Mhm.
you have a big walleye on a jigging wrap, you're going to want something that's going to load deep, right? Because it's going to absorb those head shakes a lot more. Whereas if I'm fishing something like a jig where I know I can just keep the fish pinned on a jig and a minnow, that graphite rod is perfect for that situation because it's got tons of backbone to keep that fish pinned and horse it where it needs to be. And, but it's still light enough in the tip to let me know, hey, you got a fish.
Yeah.
What's up, Jason? What's up, everybody who wasn't here when I originally said what's up and we all said what's up?
Yeah. So
Appreciate everyone tuning in.
with your walleye rods, what
Yep.
weight are you running for those in line?
Usually like 10 or 15 pound braid. Honestly, I don't get super specific on what my main line is going to be. 10 or 15 is like pretty relative for almost all my rods.
Yeah.
Where it's really changing is in leader size. So depending on the exact walleye situation, like a lot of times you're in really pikey spots, unfortunately, when you're trying to target walleye. So you got to up your leader. I don't really like going over, say, 12 pound when I'm fishing walleye. 12 is getting pretty high side. If I know I'm in a walleye spot, I'm confident in 8. If 10's handy in my box, I'm not losing a ton of confidence in it. But 10 or 8, when it's gonna be straight walleye. If it's too pikey, I'm gonna be on the higher side of things with 12 pound just to save my butt a bit, save a couple bucks in the tackle box.
Yeah. And what
But
action do
once
you look?
again, it's all mono. It's not gonna be fluoro on any fish. Like I say, the mono absorbs the walleye head shakes. I refer to the walleye because I fish walleye a lot, but it's universal there. Like every fish shakes its head when you fight it. Every fish changes directions really quick, and that's when fluorocarbon snaps on you.
What action are you using for in your rod? Like what weight?
Mediums. So yeah, I mean I'm a big frostbite fanboy. Call me what you want. I'm trying to stand up. But the 39-inch digger is probably my favorite walleye rod. It's fiberglass, as I was telling the difference before. Fiberglass compared to graphite, for me, I just like a big, deep load. That sounds horrible. I like my rods to I like them to load really deep. Just because I'm honestly, I horse fish a lot. So when I'm horsing them, they tend to switch directions or do whatever they want at certain points, and just being able to have my rod absorb whatever they're doing is super key to me. So I do fish a lot of fiberglass rods.
Yeah.
And like I say, I'm a big fan of the longer rods. It's not super necessary, obviously, and it's not even ideal for a lot of situations. But I do have a really big shack. I always fish alone in my shack. And when I'm fishing outside, I got some back issues. I sound like a whiner, but it hurts my back, honestly, to be hunched over with like a 30-inch rod all the time. So I have all 39s or bigger rods. I'm so hard on my rod. I just bought 4 Fenwicks at the Canadian Tire sale start of summer. Then I'm set for summer. So I'm honestly, I try to take care of my stuff really as best as I can. I went through 4 8-weights this year, fly rods, and like it's such a bummer. Such a bummer. And like
You
the
are
one
hard
of
on
them is Kevin on here. If Kevin's on here, Kevin will attest to this. Me and Kevin are sitting there, like we just like finished slaying. We're sitting there at our trucks, and I'm like literally just sitting there pulling on my fly for some reason and like bending my rod over and over and over again. And all of a sudden, snap. And I was like, oh, like in my head, I was like, oh, my rod just broke. He's like, did your rod just break? I'm like, yeah. It was like my 3rd 8-weight of the year, so I couldn't even like really be super pissed. Oh man, it was just brutal though. Like, not even a cool story. Just literally sitting there pulling out my fly, boom, snap. So I must have done something to it at some point, but who knows? Just bought some frostbite fiberglass for the jaw jackers. Super excited to try them out. So I like using expensive rod. I've used a couple of like expensive rods, including fiberglass ones on jaw jackers before. And this is not a knock on jaw jackers because they are amazing. I've just broken nice rods on jaw jackers too many times because they sit cranked over for so long. So I honestly, ugly sticks in the jaw jacker. All you'll ever see if you're fishing with me is ugly sticks in the jaw jacker because $24 is $24, and they don't break anyway. So
yeah, I think I've only broke one. I know I like these 13 whiteouts in there for trout.
yeah, see my 13 tickle stick there that I showed earlier, that 39 light, that rod is absolutely insane. Like it's handled some really big fish. And like that's the other thing is like, so when you say light rod, you think, oh wow, that probably isn't the best thing to target something with, right? So whatever. Like say I have a 39-inch light, and I go, well, that's probably not a good thing to target walleye with. It's like, well, technically, it might not be your best bet, but depending on your lure, it might be the exact ideal rod you want to use, or even like say you're dead sticking, you're going to want something that's going to be with a light tip so it loads immediately. Like this isn't the best example for it because it's a medium. I don't want to use a medium as a dead stick. I've landed 12-pound walleye on 39-inch light rods. Like, it's how you fight it. You got to know how to pressure your fish, when to give it the gears, and it's not necessarily a thing about what fish you're targeting isn't what rod you're using. What lure you're using is what rod you're using. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I've done a lot on medium light, or medium lights.
Like, oh yeah, medium light. Medium light is like probably like all around. Like that one always has a lure on it. Always has a lure on it.
Yeah, so it's the go-to for pretty much everything. So
absolutely.
But yeah, last year I got my first bigger rods, the 40-incher.
Yeah, and you're impressed with them so far, hey?
I enjoyed it. One, the pike took down the hole, and then the other one I shut in my rod box and broke the tip. So I'll have to do a new tip and order a couple more. But no, I was really impressed with the Mizutas, the 40-inch medium heavies.
Yeah.
I caught a lot of lake trout, a lot of pike on these.
Yeah. And see, like, so that a medium heavy, like I have two. They rarely come out because that is like a lot of times you think, okay, we're going for big walleyes, we're gonna get the medium heavies out. Like it's like no, because a lot of times in the winter time they're just not crushing it. Like unless you're using a big rattle bait or like a big spoon, big heavy spoon, it's super unnecessary. Unless you're fishing like a lake trout. Like if you're fishing lakers, you're gonna want a medium heavy rod because that fish is gonna smoke you on something smaller, and chances are you're fishing a bigger bait anyways, which we talked about, we need a bigger rod for. So.
And you're in 100 feet of water pretty much.
Right. Yeah, like you're not going to drop a 2-ounce tube in 100 feet of water fishing lake trout on a 39-inch light, 39-inch medium. You're going medium, heavy, or bigger.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah, no. And yeah, I only busted out for like 40 plus inch pike. If I know I'm going to go like, 40 inch pike, then I bring it out.
Right. And like same, like if I'm going for big pike, okay, yeah, we'll bring out that medium heavy 42-inch. Or like I bought a running gun to give that a go. There's a lot of hype behind those rods, and I love it, absolutely. But I mean, it's like you can't use it in the shack, right? Like that, you're not using a 50-inch rod in the shack. And honestly, at some point, as you get longer, the rod loses action, right? So a 50-inch medium rod now becomes that pike rod, or I could use that for Lakers because it is much stronger. Whereas when you're below 40 inches, you kind of don't really see a difference in that a whole lot.
No.
Early ice pike, let's say late November, early December, do you just use bigger bait like suckers and spoons? So yeah, I mean, if you're targeting pike at any point, I mean, there's a lot of guys who will say a tip up takes no skill. If you're not using a tip up, you're not targeting big pike. And then like from there, like for your active rod, like you're bang on, like a big spoon, absolutely gonna crush. If you can find like a bigger bait, say chubs or a sucker minnow, so a small sucker, right? A smelt, not a big fan of smelts. They don't seem to do the best. But like all those sort of bigger baits, if you can drop something a little bigger than just your plain old emerald shiner down there, you're gonna have a lot better chance at a bigger pike, right? You might smash some small guys, and you can catch big pike on a jig and a minnow, no doubt.
Yeah.
But if you can get that bigger profile, one thing I like to use, Jonathan, is bucktails. I've caught a lot of 40-inch pike on white bucktails. I mean, a white tube jig would also be as effective, do the same sort of thing. But I just like the hair flowing a little bit better. Really good option for big early ice pike. You're going to want to be, I don't like to be too shallow. I like to stay around 10 feet. If I can get to 12 and like it's that kind of deepest area in that spot, that's where I want to be. But I don't like to go too shallow unless that's all that's presented to me.
That's there, yeah.
Yeah. So like if you have access to say, so this is more what I mean. If you have access to 26 feet of water, 100 yards over there, and you have a gradual slope, kind of like into a bay section, and that bay is mainly 6 feet, but there's a plateau over in the middle before you get there at 12 feet. I want to be on that plateau in the middle. I don't want to be up in that shallow stuff. That shallow stuff is good during the day. That is it. If you're mid-afternoon and you're like, you just got off work and that's all the time you got is mid-afternoon, that's where you want to be. But if you're in the evening and if you're in the morning or at night, when that's when you're going to get the big one, it's going to be in 12 feet, 10 feet. It's going to be a little bit deeper.
Yeah, hit that transition area.
Yeah.
Do you warm up your bait so it's soft, or do you just throw on a frozen one and send her down?
Can I just jump out for a second and everything I throw is soft, but I wanted to talk about bait a little bit with you, and this is just like a quick touch on that. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Yeah, I always like to have a little warmer bait. It seems to sink better, and always hook it so it'll sit like a swim bait. So hook it right in the middle. I always use just one hook in the middle. I'm not a fan of two on either end.
Yeah. So with suckers, they're thawed. With my minnows though, like, cause I trap, and I recommend everybody traps minnows, especially with like the price of the mush that's out these days. Go trap your own minnows. And like, so I package my minnows like this. So there's like probably a dozen to 15 in there. That I can thaw this out really fast, thaw the entire pack. And so if I go through that, for me to thaw out another pack is like a minute over the buddy heater. The way that because I was guilty of this when I first started trapping, and like, yeah, on the dashboard on the way out, for sure. I just hate the smell of that, but that's just me. And like, I can throw this on the dashboard when I get there and it's thawed out in like a minute, like I said. I was guilty of when I originally started trapping my minnows, I would throw them in a tub. And if you buy a tub of minnows, you'll notice sometimes you'll throw it on the dashboard like that, and then because you don't want to do it for the whole drive, so you throw it on there for 10 minutes. When you get there, you go to pull it out, you find, okay, this minnow looks good, and you go to pull it out, and its head's actually still frozen because they're inside the tub. That doesn't happen. You kind of break this off like a Kit Kat bar, even if they are frozen, and you're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So package your stuff easily, and it makes it super easy, and then it thaws super fast, and then you don't have to do the whole thaw, refreeze, because the minnows go mush the first time, let alone the second time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm a floor mat guy. Throw it on the floor.
Yeah.
Let them thaw. If you have a tin, and you're going in a shack, I'll just scoop some water into it out of the hole.
Oh, yeah.
And just let it sit in, and that'll thaw them out good.
Yeah.
Same as like open water too. If they're frozen, just put a little water in them. It'll thaw them out quick. But
last year I ran out of minnows because I wasn't as much of a minnow connoisseur one might say.
Ooh.
But this year, this boy can trap. Let me tell you what.
Oh man, what setup are you using for that?
So like seriously, like it's the most basic thing, guys. Like go on Amazon, buy yourself a trap, or go to Canadian Tire, or go wherever, build yourself one, do whatever you want to do. Go to the dollar store, buy yourself a bag of dollar store dog food, buy yourself a dollar store wet dog food, put it in the trap, and it's better than anything I've ever used.
Yeah.
Like my traps are full every time.
And do you
Well, other
flash
thing I
freeze them?
noticed, if it's really windy, don't even bother.
Yeah.
Don't even bother. If it's like really windy,
They
like
get
don't
pushed
bother.
out.
If the area you're in is getting a lot of waves, it's useless.
Mhm.
Try to find calm areas. Calm areas will hold a ton of minnows. Try to get close to a weed edge, and obviously you just have to be shallow. But once you fill your trap, I don't salt my minnows personally. You can get pickling salt and do it that way. I like this. I like to freeze them with the slime on.
Yeah.
And like I say, packaging was the biggest obstacle, I guess you could say, I overcame this year in realizing how to be useful, and I don't know the word I'm looking for because I'm not that smart, but like effective. Like okay, I caught this, I want to use it. Like not have any waste. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where that packaging comes in, because it's like, okay, well, I can keep everything frozen, and then I need a new pack. Boom, good to go. I have
Yeah.
sorry, I missed that one. I have a bunch of 10 to 11-inch suckers. Would that be the perfect size? I always thought small suckers would be a lot better. No, that's the perfect size, Jonathan. If you want to catch 30-inch walleye, you'll catch it on a 11-inch sucker. If you want to catch a 40-inch pike, you'll catch it on an 11-inch sucker.
Yeah. And
I've
if
seen
you want,
25-inch suckers taken by 40-inch pikes. So
yeah, if you want like running a dead stick with suckers that size for lake trout too,
yeah,
just do a slip weight on them, put it right on the bottom, let it
yeah,
sit there, throw a bell on it with your bail open. I've caught more bigger lake trout doing that than
yeah.
running tubes in a shack or anything. Those dead sticks laying on the ground, one hook kills them.
And I mean, you have a lot more experience doing that than I do. I don't fish lake trout that often, right? But yeah, like for big pike, 100%. 10, 11-inch sucker, that is not too big by any means. It's not even close to too big.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got a freezer full of them.
Big pike are coming.
It's hilarious because, like, so anyone who knows me knows that my diet is absolute garbage. My freezer literally consists of minnows, suckers, and an owl that I need to take to the taxidermist. There's no food in it.
What? Minnows and KD is not on the option?
No, that sounds KD. Like what? I had mac and cheese bites for lunch today. Let me tell you, who
Where'd you get
decided
them
that
from?
was a good idea? A convenience store. I mean, convenience
Oh
store
man.
may not be the best ideal place to get them, but whoever decided that mac and cheese bites are like a good snack to have definitely was on the devil's lettuce.
Yeah. I had some at Burger King once and it was like, oh, these aren't great.
Well, I'd seen them. I'm like, mac and cheese bites. Let me get some of those. I ate two of them. I'm like, I get back to work at lunch. I eat two of them. I'm like, yeah, these are going in the garbage can unless anyone else wants them. Like,
Yeah.
they
Oh,
even
they're
cut
good.
them into pizza slices to look like attractive.
What?
Yeah,
Like a
man, they're in little
a
triangles. I
like,
was like, oh, dude, that's like origami. I love it.
origami. Like a little pizza pie,
I like a
but
little pizza
mac
pie.
and cheese
You want a
bites.
pizza pie?
Oh, I don't know. Mac and cheese bites are off. Don't get them, people. You
No,
heard it
get
here.
walleye bites. We gotta get on walleye so that you can cook walleye bites, and then you're good to go.
Walleye bites.
And walleye early ice are super hyped up.
Yeah.
Scented
Definitely.
plastics, that's a great call. Scented plastics for a lot of different species and a lot of places are really great.
Yeah. As long as you can run bait. So
Yeah,
as a
yeah,
bait
right.
man,
That is the one thing that is kind of confusing to people.
yeah,
Um, if it is a bait ban, that does mean no scent or no salt. The no salt one is kind of to me because technically salt is just to hold the plastic together, right? It's actually not used as an attractant, but they see it as an attractant, so you can't use them. So just keep that in mind, guys. But like where you can use them, scented plastics, let's go.
100%. Yeah. Head over to Hooked Up Tackle. They'll get you what you want. They got a ton of molds and a ton of different scents, so
Yeah, hey,
they'll get it for you.
right on.
All
Yeah, no,
different.
like I'm excited for the ice. Like I gotta say, like I was kind of like well, I mean, I will always love open water fishing, fly fishing, spin fishing, what have you. But
Yeah.
I am excited for ice now. Ice has always actually been one of my favorites, but I was kind of like, this year. But no, now that it's all becoming real and the temperatures are there and the rods are ready to go and the tackle box is all dialed, I'm feeling it, man.
Man, as soon as it gets close, like as soon as
Yeah,
it gets close to November, it's like it's go time.
yeah,
And this is it's gonna be the latest we've been on for years. Literally, we've already been on the ice.
right. And like, I mean, not that not that I um haven't shot videos in the past, but like I'm kind of excited shooting videos again. I'm having kind of fun with it, being a dork, talking to the camera like a meathead. So I've been filming a lot and like I'm excited to film some ice stuff and like hopefully like like whether it's answering questions on a podcast like this or not really that reachable. But like if you guys have video ideas or videos you want to see, like let me know here, like on the podcast tonight or like what have you. Like I'm an open book to sharing. Like methods are something that everybody needs to learn and be taught,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm not a
You can always
fan of
learn.
like people being like, oh, just go here and do this. Like I'm a fan of being like, do this, this is why. And it'll
Mm-hmm.
work everywhere. Like that's why like I mean honestly, Kyle Stevens is like is a legend as everyone knows. But like one of his biggest things is like I'll catch every fish in Alberta on 5 lures.
Yep.
And like he's
100%.
not talking about like using any minnows or anything like that. He's saying like there's 5 lures, you can catch every fish in Alberta. Golden trout, everything. So
Yep.
I mean,
You
it's
could
having confidence in what you're using is like the biggest thing.
and
Is like
how
I'll be say I'll be brook trout fishing. I confident in brook trout fishing. I spent time like studying what I was doing, and so I'm confident in it. But like if I put certain baits on that I know other people really like for brook trout, I like feel lost. Like I just absolutely feel lost. I feel like I'm not catching fish. I'll know I'm in the right spot, and like I'll catch a fish, and I'll even be like, no, like that was fluke. Like you just find what you're confident in, and I swear to God it'll work because like
you know how
once
to
you have
work it.
faith in it, you know how to
Mm-hmm.
use it and it'll work.
Yep.
Because there's a reason why the lure was designed, right? Like they don't make lures that just don't flat out don't work. Like maybe the bottle cap, but like they don't make stuff like that. So just have confidence in whatever you're using. Like I say, I'm not confident in using rip and wraps for brook trout, but I know guys who hammer brook trout on rip and wraps.
Yeah.
So
It's the
one thing,
confidence in your lure and knowing how to work that lure.
yeah. And
Like,
like I say, like I'm all for teaching you what I'm confident in. So like if you guys have ideas of what you want to see, or like say like you see me post something and it's like, oh, that's a cool fish. I want to know how to catch whatever. Just ask me. I don't care. I'll tell you how to catch it. So, I
yeah.
don't, I spent way too much money filling a tackle box with useless stuff. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. No,
Like
I
I got a
like
lot of different shiny spoons, but I'm confident in spoons. May as
I
well
go
have a few different
fishing
colors of them, right?
I go fishing with the people that'll bring a whole toolbox full of stuff and I'll bring one box.
Yeah, and I
And
used to be like that. I used to be like, oh, Rubbermaid in the back of my truck with like every box that's like on the
yeah.
wall now. And it's like, okay, I'm going fishing for walleye. I need like couple of these, couple of these, couple of these.
Yeah.
So like if I'm going fishing for walleye on the ice, well, I need jigs because I'm going to fish a jig in a minnow. I need spoons because I'm going to pound a spoon on the bottom.
Yeah.
I need ripping wraps, and I need like 1 or 2 jigging wraps because I'll fish them, but I get really bored of them really quick. So they work, but I don't really care because other stuff works too, right? And there's guys that love using jig wraps, right? Like there's guys who love just sitting there all day, like wham, wham, like okay, like that's sick, like because it works, right? Like it works, so like you can't say that it's stupid. It's not. But it's not for me. Like I want to take a spoon, bam, bam, bam on bottom, pick it up, bam, bam, bam on bottom. Oh, here comes the mark, bang, 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 boom. Like that's I like watching my flasher and
the slow bring up,
interacting. Like it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of time when you have a jig and wrap, or I like fishing rip and wraps, and a rip and wrap is a reaction bite too. But jig and wrap is big time reaction bite, and like not only is it big time reaction bite, it's almost never a marked bite. It's like okay, rip it. There was no mark there, and then you go to pick it up. Wait, boom, fish on, which is cool, and it's like I say, it works, but it's not as interactive, so it just kind of doesn't tickle my fancy.
For sure. I found different lakes respond differently to different hooks as well. Like
especially walleye. Walleye get flack, man, but walleye is one of the hardest. Like if you want to catch 18-inch dinks all day, like sure, go ahead. I shouldn't say 18, 15-inch, like whatever. If you want to catch dinks all day, sure, go ahead. They're not that hard. But like if you want to catch big walleye, it's one of the most dialed fish that you have to know. Like, yeah, okay, you can catch them on big suckers on tip-ups. Yes, absolutely. That's a known thing. But if you want to be that jig guy and catch big ones, it's a different game, man. It's a lot harder than catching stocked brookies. Like it's a different game. 100%. It's a timing thing more than anything. Would you prefer using single trebles in what size or a quick strike rig be fine? That's going to depend on, like if your sucker gets too big, I use double because it's not going to work. I know that there's a big movement of guys being like, oh, circle hooks, circle hooks, circle hooks. I'll be honest with you right now. It's the biggest one. It's one of the biggest lies in fishing. That circle hooks are going to save pike from swallowing it deep, first of all, because that's a lie. Second of all, your hookup ratio is pathetic unless you do let it swallow it. So if I'm fishing like a sucker, say 10 and smaller, 1. If I'm fishing 1, 10 and bigger, 2. Because I'm on my flags like a hawk. And when it goes, I don't give them time. Like I'm not afraid to hit a fish while it's running when I get to the flag. My fish has, as long as it takes me from noticing the flag to me getting there, setting the tip up down gently, looking which way the line's going, and then I'm setting the hook. So if he's moving, he's getting hit. If he's sitting still, he's getting hit.
Yeah.
I don't give him the chance to swallow it. The gut hooking thing happens when guys let the tip up eat. It's the same with guys complaining about pickerel rigs. If you let a fish eat a pickerel rig, then sure, it's going to swallow it. If you're on top of your rod with a pickerel rig, probably not going to get swallowed. But I mean, at the same time, with bait, you also do potentially face that at any point. Like you're telling me that a jig and a minnow is safer than anything? Like, I don't know, like it has the same ability of being swallowed, right? So you take a 15-inch sucker and put that in a pike's mouth, and it's got 15 seconds probably, right, from the time of me walking over there. I don't run, I walk. But it's probably got 15 seconds, 20 seconds. That thing's not getting it far. It's got to get it flipped in its mouth first. So having the double hooks, I find, is a necessity at that point because it's going to have the head or it's going to have the tail. One of
in
the
the
two.
bigger baits. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I don't like is pyramid rigs. The pyramid double hook style. It's got to be the slip double hook style, because if it's so, and this is something that is a good point to get into. If it's the slip double hook style, you're not having a problem with the fish getting hooked awkwardly with the second hook. When you have the pyramid style like this, you have to think. So if you have a 12-inch leader, which is a pretty common size, 12-inch leader, well, 12 inches, now you have a 24-inch leader. So if you got them with one hook, a 24-inch fish now, or a 40-inch fish now has a hook halfway down its body.
Yeah.
And have fun getting that up the hole. I've experienced it, and that's why I won't use pyramid rigs anymore, because you just awkwardly hook the fish and then you end up struggling. It's hard on the fish. It's useless time wasting. So a slip double rig is what I use, and what I mean by that is just one hook is fixed with a wire crimp at the end, and the second treble is just free sliding on there through the eyelet, and that way it's super adjustable for your sucker size.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna take a bathroom break because I think we're going into overtime. So it's
Yeah,
all
we
you,
may go
buddy.
into overtime because I do love pike fishing in the winter. But he can't bring up any questions while he's not here, so I'll ramble about pike rigs since we're on the topic. I don't think I have any tip-ups like remotely anywhere near me. But I've talked about this before. If you guys go on my YouTube, I can't remember the name of the exact video, but it's like big pike on tip-ups or something like that, or nonstop pike on tip-ups, or I don't know, something like that. And I break down all my tip-up rigs. Now, this is before I got rid of the pyramid rig. So there is a pyramid rig in the video, I do believe. But now it's all slip rigs. The other two were slip rigs. But it breaks it down for you. So early season, what I like to do is sometimes I'll hook my bait upside down and leave it suspended mid-column. So not all the way down, mid-column, suspended. That's obviously going to be super basic how you hook it. Hooks are facing backwards on the fish because fish like to eat them head first. So hooks are facing backwards, one halfway down the body, one at the head. Now, throughout the rest of the year, and if that's not working, the way to properly run suckers on a tip up, and I've tried to explain this before, is you don't set it right on bottom. So you drop it down to the bottom, and you know that it's on bottom because your thing stops spinning, or you notice that your line is not tight anymore and it's gone slack. So then what I do is I bring it up maybe 6 inches and I suspend it. Now, the key to making this work properly with slip rigs, because I've had guys message me and be like, that doesn't work. And I go, well, did you tie a weight to the front end? So on the head hook of the sucker that is facing backwards, you have a wire crimp, right, which has your fluorocarbon. Then you have a split ring, and your split ring, at least on my rigs, I have a split ring. Then I can change the size of my treble. From that split ring, I tie probably 6 to 8 inches of just 10, 6, anything. It break off. It's meant to break off if a fish eats it or anything. What this does, Burt Reynolds. What this does is keeps your sucker sitting like this, like it's feeding across the bottom. Suckers laying on bottom like this, like it looks somewhat natural, but not really, because the sucker feeds like this. So that weight off bottom, yes, the sucker is suspended just off bottom, but it makes it so that it can eat it, and the weight is just like an 1/8 ounce jig head, maybe a 3/8 ounce jig head with the hook cut off it. So it's just the bright green or bright orange or bright pink. So it looks like the sucker's eating something. Believe me or not, I don't care. But if you want to catch a really big pike, that is the way to do it. With big suckers, with your bait, with a weight of bright color suspended just off bottom, like that. Like, it's so key. I break it down in the video. I show you absolutely everything, show you how I tie it on and everything. But like I say, that is the main way to hook up a sucker on a tip-up rig. It's the best way to do it. That little bit of weight, make sure that there's no coil in your line so that it's sitting all weird in the water. If you want really, really big pike, they're somewhat smart. They're not going to eat something that looks like it's got a wire attached to it.
Yeah.
I've used 110. I use 110-pound fluorocarbon rigs. I've used the same rigs for 3 years. One day last year between the tip ups, we caught. There's 2 tip ups of mine. We caught 8 over 40 inches. Those rigs will still be on the tip ups first thing when I drop them down this year, because heavy fluoro, it's not going anywhere. Good crimps. But like I say, that little jig head, that little tweak there, that's the biggest difference if you want to catch giant pike on tip ups.
Yeah. No.
You missed it, Mitch, because you already catch big enough pike.
Yeah. I catch some sometimes. It's
no,
okay.
Man, you hammer them. Last year at the end of the season.
This year's going to be good. There's going to be some big pike.
Absolutely. I mean, I'd always love to see that magical 50-inch mark come out, but every time I see a 40 with a big old gut on it, I'm pretty excited. I do it for Christmas every year. I go for a 3-night trip by myself, and then I go for 2 weeks at the end of the year, March Madness. You got to get them big suckers down there. But when it happens, it's a special, special day. It makes for like the greatest days ever. So as much as some guys might say tip-up fishing is not the greatest skill, it is super, super dialed to get really big fish constantly.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always fluke big ones, but to be consistent, it takes a little bit of work for sure.
I know last year the biggest one I saw was 48. And I know there's going to be a 50. We're just waiting.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. I think we can do – I think there's a 50. I've heard of it.
Yeah.
So if we can get it.
I mean, my PB is 45. I think, like I say, 42 is kind of like the mark where it's like, oh, for me anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when you're looking at like a 25-ish, unless she's super skinny. You're looking at almost 25-pound fish. Like, you get into those 45s, you might be looking at a 30-pounder. So I think Paisley will catch a 50 before you. Well,
that's a good chance.
I think you're probably right. She's in the correct province for it. Her dad is the correct person for the job.
Yeah.
And she is the correct girl to deserve that fish, man.
100%.
I hope her or Dexter, man. Because so anyone who follows the Connolly family knows that they do a pike tournament between the kids every year. Biggest pike gets a trophy. It's sick. I've seen it in person. It's magical.
Well, they get their names on it.
They get their names engraved on it every year, and Paisley won it this year. So maybe Big Dex gets the 50 next year, and then Paisley's got to catch up to her older brother.
Yeah, that'd be insane. 50 is huge. Yeah, that's a mark that you don't see often.
Yeah, I mean,
anything over 46. Anything over 45, 46, that's getting up there.
Oh, yeah. If you, like I say, I'll say it again. If you catch a 40-inch pike, you caught a monster, and you should be so freaking happy to ton around.
It's a fish of a lifetime once you hit those marks.
Yeah, and then once you go from there, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, let's try, let's go. But yeah, it's like a never-ending chase. Like, I caught that 45 last year solo by myself, and dude, it's just epic, man. Like, some of the fish that I've caught, I fish a lot alone. A lot of the fish that I catch alone, I'm like, I can't even do this fish justice. Like, it's a freak. Like, it's so funny, man.
Oh, it's hard when you're by yourself trying to film and everything.
There's so much
chaos.
It's cool how like GoPros nowadays are like, oh, okay, GoPro, take a photo, and it clicks a photo for you. That makes life a lot easier. But the old setting the phone up and trying to have a timer days, like those were bad times.
I still live in those times.
Yeah. Yeah. I got the GoPro going most of the time, so
If I don't have the video camera going,
yeah.
at least you have a video camera going so you can cut something out of it, but the
Yeah,
quality
these
would
days I
be
try to keep the GoPro going because like honestly, like these days I don't even take very many photos because I don't know, like I'm in the moment or whatever you want to call
yeah.
it or what have you. So like I'll catch like a pretty nice fish and be like, oh yeah, boom. But it's like having the GoPro going, I think is a lot of fun because like I mean I'm sure at some point I'll be like, oh, let me open up this, boom, oh wow, that's a cool memory. Like for instance, I caught a really, really big sturgeon this year. And it was just like that really, I don't know, it was like a crap day and I caught this massive fish by myself and like I look at those pictures and I'm so stoked, let alone when I decide to watch the video because like I make the video and like I have to like watch it like 15 times while I'm trying to make it, if not
Yeah.
well more than that. So I never actually even watch them, right? So it's like eventually one day I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna check this out and it'll be super cool, right? So I'm thankful for actually being mindful of that these days and taking my video camera, my GoPro, and just having it strapped to my backpack strap so that I can watch it over again. Like I went up for Goldens this year and hammered them, and like, oh man, that trip's got to be so cool to watch. There's like
Oh,
3 bear encounters on it, man.
nice.
I'm going up the mountain by myself in the morning, and it's funny because like my mom's not watching this, so it doesn't matter. My mom's like crazy late, well, like not crazy lady. My mom's like super worried, like something's gonna happen lately. So I like told my mom,
Like
like,
your
yeah,
own
I'm going
mom.
up with my buddy, and she's like, oh, okay, that's good. And then like I'm in the parking lot in the morning, and I'm like, well, he's not here yet. I'm going, and I'm going up the mountain, and it's funny because I'm like filming this grizzly bear, and I'm like, and I take this video from my mom, and I'm like, oh, mom, like, sorry, I came up by myself, and here's this bear, and then I like hear this thing, and then there's a black bear, and it's right below me, and it's coming up towards me. I'm like, what is he doing? So I start yelling at him. It's hilarious. So I gotta watch
That's
that because that's probably
gonna
actually quite funny. I'm like, oh, sorry, mom.
be, that's gonna be awesome to see. Can't
Oh
wait.
yeah, yeah, it was a good one. Caught a ton of fish, like, and when my buddy got up there, like he hammered too, so it was awesome. No
Yeah.
ice yet, George, but we are on the countdown officially within 2 weeks, my friend.
Within the days, maybe.
Yeah, like I
We'll
think we're
see.
under. Technically, it's under 2 weeks. It's like 12 days. Oh,
It's under.
when's so November 11th, Remembrance Day. Go buy a poppy, but
Yeah.
no Remembrance
If you
Day.
don't already have one.
Yeah, if you don't already have one, or if you anytime you go into a store and if you just happen to have change in your pocket, throw it in there because the veterans deserve it and they don't get enough, and we need to
Yeah.
change that and do whatever we can. But I'm hoping Remembrance Day, I'm on the ice, man. I'm hoping
Yeah.
so. It might
I'm
be
thinking
questionable. I might fall through, and if I do, it'll be on video, and you
at
guys will
least the
enjoy it
GoPro's
and laugh at
waterproof.
me. And maybe I'll shampoo my hair or something or my mustache.
Probably the mustache.
I don't know. I like this. I don't ever like when I go into the shower. I put a little mustache cap on it because I like all the scents that it holds.
from from all your mac and cheese bites.
I rub my plastics on it. Cast them out.
It's the
They're
secret
like
grease.
it's like pizza, bacon, a little bit of Osmow's,
Mac and cheese bites.
a little bit of donut.
Could be
I
the secret.
Coca-Cola because I've been drinking Coca-Cola again.
It is Movember, so everyone should probably have a mustache or a beard or something.
Yeah, cancer of the nuts is not something to be taken lightly.
Yeah, let it grow.
Yeah. So
But
I love the mustache. Like I got to this one age where I'm this age, and now I just don't care anymore, like at all about anybody. thinking like, wow, that guy looks like a moron. Like right now I'm wearing long johns and a sweatshirt and I don't care. I'm gonna go to the store. But
You gotta be
it's like
comfy.
Walmart shoes, like at some point, like I used to be like, oh yeah, like I wonder when people stop buying like DC shoes and just start going to Walmart and buying shoes. Like it's like 31, 32, 33.
I got globes. I still rock skate shoes.
Do you?
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, but you make that big baller money.
No.
You'd boss guys like me around. You're like, hey, get this done by when?
No, my buddy owns a shop in Bower Mall, The Edge. Always has sweet deals on DC globes and everything.
Oh, dope.
And it's like good prices, so it's like, oh, that's a good deal. I better pick
Yeah.
up some.
See, I would buy them, but I'm sponsored by Ozark Trail Walmart. Um, so yeah, I just have to wear their shoes.
Do you have the tent?
Yeah,
Have they
I got
sent you the tent
dude.
yet?
Dude, if you were to go, like, if you were like, hey Adam, let me see inside that Rubbermaid there, it would be like Ozark Trail backpack, Ozark Trail friggin' stove,
You
Ozark
should
Trail
start.
shoes, Ozark Trail
Gotta start putting them
slippers.
everywhere.
Oh man, like,
Man, Walmart sponsor would be the best.
dude, that would be fire. That's
That'd
like
be
John D
crazy.
level though.
If you were sponsored by Walmart, you could do anything you wanted.
I think that I think it would be quite the opposite. Oh,
You think?
also,
You'd be hooked up
um,
for food,
well,
hooks,
yeah, but you would have to be
rod,
like, on
full
today's
blown.
episode, we will be fishing for walleyes in the most proper way that we ever could, with no hook on our jig, so that they can just bite the minnow. Like that's what it would get to.
You
But
think Walmart's that bad? They sell fishing gear, so they have to hook fish.
I think
They have camping gear.
I have a question. Is there's still people watching, right?
Yeah, there's a bunch still.
Oh, okay. I have a question. So I since I have decided to continue to make YouTube fishing videos once again, um, how does everybody feel about like I mean I just don't really. So I went like when I first like 5 years ago when I was like, okay, yeah, I'm really gonna get into fishing, blah blah blah. I was like, okay, cool, sponsored, like, and there's nothing, and this is nothing against sponsors, but it's just not the route for me. And I originally had thought that that was the route for me. So not that I'm like, not that I like really hide in my videos like how I actually am. Um, but I just kind of like now I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm F like I'll catch a sweet fish, and in my emotion I'm like F yeah, like whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I just decided like why like who wants to hear beep? Like I don't know. So in my videos from now on, if your kids are watching, like I'm sorry, but like every once in a while there is gonna be an F bomb. There I am gonna say the S word. Like I'm not gonna be like a vulgar, like redneck, and you know what I mean. But I it's just gonna be a little more sincere, Adam. You know, like um, I do watch my mouth, but it's just not. I'm just not gonna edit out junk, you know, like not junk, but like you know what I mean.
True emotions.
Yeah, like it's gonna be real and like, hey, this is me and this is what we're doing and this is how we're doing it and F yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
You know, like kind of
And
thing.
there's
So
always like when you do produce a video on YouTube, there's the thing not meant for children that you have to do every time it goes
yeah.
on there.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I mean, I'm not monetized or anything, so I mean, I could care less. And even if I was monetized, I'd be like, well, you can either deal with the swang or you can not have me on your platform. I don't care. But
100.
like I say, I just want to let everyone because I don't want to catch anyone off guard and like have them watching with like their 6-year-old kid and like because it's not like I'm gonna be like, oh, at the start of every video explicit content, but I'll just let you know like it's just gonna be a little more legit and raw and hey, I don't really give a whatever, you know. Oh wow, there's a
Approved.
bear. Oh my god, there's an effing bear. You know what I mean? Like, oh my god.
It's coming
I'm like,
right at me.
yeah. I'm like, oh yeah. Like I'm like sitting there, like the one I remember taking the one. I'm like, oh yeah, there's a grizzly bear right there. And then the black bear just come up at me. I was like, my truck's like way down there. This is smart.
Yeah.
My air horn wasn't working too. By the way, always test your
Equipment.
don't test your bear spray unless you really don't like your buddy. Then maybe test your bear spray. I'm not saying do, but always test your like stuff. I realized that like, oh, my horn wasn't turned like completely on. So when I first went to blast it at the bear that was coming up the hill, it didn't go off, and I was like, oh crap. So then I yelled at the bear, but then I realized, oh, just turn your horn one more time, meathead, and you'll be able to use it. So
Yeah.
yeah, so always just to test your gear, make sure your gear's all working, right? That especially like heading into early ice season, make sure that if it's going to be really cold, make sure you know your heater is going to work. Make sure you know you got the proper amount of propane for the time you're going to be there. Make sure you got your carbon monoxide detector with you. That's like such a key thing. Make sure it's got proper batteries and it's working. Hit the test button. I know it's annoying to hear, but hit the test button. Just always make sure everything's working before you get out there, because the worst thing that happens is when something doesn't work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're out there and the stuff you brought to save your life isn't working,
Yeah.
well, you kind of dropped the ball, and
Yeah, and like that, and like that's
everything.
like, if it's something to save your life, like you're in trouble. If it's something like, I mean, I can't even count the amount of times I've gone fishing. Let's go night fishing for sturgeon. Let's go night fishing for walleyes. And then it's like, my headlamp is dead. Well, you didn't think to charge your headlamp before you went night fishing? It's like number one.
Yeah.
But it's like, and it happens because you just get in the, oh, I gotta get going. I need this gear. I need,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I gotta run and grab a drink. Like, so it does happen, but like just always try to run through the mental checklist of having the proper safety items and that they're in working order, and then having the proper items for what you're going to be doing and that they're in working order as well. Because once one of those doesn't work, then it becomes a life and death thing sometimes. So.
For sure. Like right now, if you can't afford a float suit, stay within like somewhere you can touch bottom.
Yeah,
So you
and
can
like,
get out.
if it's a hiking place, just try to avoid it. Like, just wait till you know that the ice is good, because if you're in a hiking place and you go through and it's, oh, okay, I went through in 4 feet of water, I'm only wet to here, I just got to get back to the truck, which is 5 kilometers away, and it's minus 17. And you're a kilometer into the walk, and now you can't feel your legs and your feet anymore. Now you're trying to crawl up the hill.
Yeah.
And now you're dead. So
yeah, first ice is nothing to mess around with. Have some
yeah,
rope. Like
water
if
is
you're by yourself, tie that rope off to a tree and bring it out with you.
Yep.
Or
And just
something
like,
that you can get tied off there. Have your ice picks. Stay in that zone where you can have still a foot above water, so your arms are still comfortable and you can launch off the bottom and kind of like dolphin onto the ice to get back in.
yeah,
They're
you
all
got,
simple things. Let people know where you are. It's just being cautious right now.
one thing, because like they'll tell you that there's service everywhere in Alberta. You can make a phone call anywhere, but you can't, as well you all know. And I was recently informed about these devices here,
Yeah.
and I'm in a very unfortunate situation. And I went home and got myself one right away. And I'll tell you right now, who cares what, like, I mean, not who cares what your boyfriend or your girlfriend or whoever you got to send the message to thinks. This gives you like a little bit of a feeling of, okay, like it's going to be okay. You know what I mean? Like having a safety device on you, like a Spot or a Garmin InReach or a Zoleo, like there's many options out there. There's different price plans per month, like it's very cheap. Like you don't have to go out and buy a $700 unit. This one was on sale at London Drugs for $129, I believe I paid. And I believe I added an extra feature, so it's like $14 a month, which when your paycheck comes in and that comes out the same day, you don't notice $14. Especially when it's something that can save your life, because you have the option of, hey, wifey, I'm okay. Hey, I'm not okay. Or hey, emergency services, get here now. I'm in big trouble. And it can save your life. And like, there's just, even if you're in, so say you're in service and you're hunting or you're going in early ice, and it's not really that much of a hike and whatever. It's not even a hike. Your truck's right there, but your truck won't start and you fell through the ice and you can't, like, you have to realize, like, when you call 911, and like, this is like, I mean, this isn't necessarily fishing related, but when you call 911, you don't call, I'm in Medicine Hat. When I call 911, I don't call Medicine Hat 911. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
It gets transferred to some lady in Calgary or Edmonton or what have you. I don't know the exact destination where that one goes, but they don't, when you say I'm at the College Pond, they're like, cool story, bro. No idea where the College Pond is. But
and
if I
contractors now too, so
right, so
and
if I pop this button open and hit SOS, boom, they have my GPS location. I call 911, let them know, hey, I just sent out a message to Spot with SOS. This is where I am. The exact GPS location is going to be within your hands, like in seconds.
Yeah.
And boom, they're there. So I mean, it's so worth it for that. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. You could be out of service and you're by yourself fishing and your truck breaks down. What are you going to do? You can't make a call. Missing. Because there's like options, right? You have SOS, and then you have, it's not life threatening, but I need someone to come give me a hand. A tip I learned with ice pick is to run them through your jacket arms. Yep. Like the old school mitten style.
Yeah. That's a good idea, because it'll always be locked up, hopefully just sitting there.
Yep, absolutely. Ice picks will save your life. Like,
yeah.
I don't know how good your guys' hands work when yours are cold, but mine don't. And trying to grip slippery, wet ice after your hands are already cold, and now they're wet and cold, it's not easy. But if you can just grip that peg, boom, boom, you're coming out. Boom, boom, you're coming out.
Yeah.
So, ice picks are a definite must early ice. And like you said, a float suit. Make sure your float suit's in good condition. I know they're really expensive, so it's hard to buy a new one constantly. But just make sure you don't have any massive tears in them or anything like that, because then it defeats the purpose of being a float suit and becomes more of a weight.
I know Pissy Fun is coming out this year with a float suit, full float suit. It's not out yet, but it should be out right away. So they always have a good price point, so it could be like a real good price point for everybody, and we'll see. By the sounds of it, it's going to be late November. They're going to come out, so I can't wait to see it. It's going to be sweet. Cool.
And like, well, as you talk about them, like I say, everything that I use is all open water reels.
Yeah.
Which, as you can imagine, when I say, okay, I need a 39-inch light for this lure, I need the 39-inch light tickle stick for this lure, and I need the 39-inch medium light for this lure, and hell, I want to have a tantrum too. So I got a 39-inch medium, as well as I also have a jaw jacker rod ready to go, plus a second jaw jacker rod ready to go in case I decide that I don't want to jig and I just want to run 2 jaw jackers instead.
Yeah.
That's like 6 rods. Well, that's like 6 reels. I mean, price point becomes price point becomes effective at that point, right? Especially when you're looking for quality. And I mean, I'm not on the Pisco Fun team. I'm not on any team, but those Pisco Fun reels, if you want a good price point and a quality reel, that's where it is.
Yeah.
I've tried tons and tons of stuff. They outlast other brands. Like I'm a big believer in like when I fishing sturgeon, for instance, I fish like my Penn saltwater reels. I'm really, really dedicated to that. But everything else is a Pisco Fun reel, and I honestly, their price point is incredible, and their product is just as good. So when you gotta buy 6-7 reels to have just a day of fishing, like I'm kind of ridiculous with it. I just hate retying and stuff too. I mean, it's not like I make terrible money, but I'm not going out and spending $1,000 on reels every 3 years because they wear out, when I can spend $300 on reels and they might last, or if I got to replace them, I got to replace them. And oh wow, they just sent me a flyer in my inbox and it's buy one get one free. Okay, I'm in.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Like I don't do any maintenance to my reels. I just go hard on them.
Oh, yeah.
That price
Throw 'em
point
in the
is
dirt.
like, it's like half the price of like a fancy reel, and I'm still running the same ones I've always ran.
Yeah, and I think they're like, I mean, if you're into freaking, oh, it needs to match this, like they have the colors, whatever, they have the colors you need. They're nice looking. But for me, it's more the drag system. Like the drag system on those reels is incredible. You can buy a $29 reel, and the drag system is incredible. Okay, I'm in. Like,
yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, well, it's got to have 14 ball bearings. Like, is your wrist broken? Why is it? Well, you're just turning a reel, man.
I need a super gear ratio because I can't spin that fast.
Yeah. Hey, I tried to get into bait casting this year, but I shouldn't say I tried to get into bait casting. I got into bait casting a little bit this year for pike. I kind of do like the gear ratio thing. Like, I kind of like, hey, that's nice. I can go like, and like make like, I don't even, I'm not very smart when it comes to big pike lures, but like the big jointed baits that are like this long, makes them swim really nice when you just go like this instead of having to twitch your rod constantly.
Oh, definitely.
Oh,
it's just when you're running those bait casting reels, just make sure you tune it right, because if you cast it and it's not set up for it, you're gonna have a rat's nest.
Oh yeah, I had a few rat's nests. See,
getting used to them, but once you get used to them, they're deadly.
Like I think sometimes, like I think sometimes people meet, like for the first time they meet me, that they like watch my videos or like seen some like of my pictures or something, and realize like they don't necessarily realize like, oh wow, that was a really big sturgeon. Like, okay, that kid spends a ridiculous amount of time fishing sturgeon and like blah blah blah. So like they'll come up to me and like they'll like start fishing with me, and like I feel like I almost want to be like, did you think I was better or something? And like that's what it's like when I like, so like, because I fish alone all the time, right? So like I have to teach myself everything. So like I had to teach myself the bait casting thing. I had to teach myself the fly fishing thing. Like I can only imagine the thoughts that went through some people's heads when they like seen what was going on. Like, does that kid know what he's doing? Or like, do you know how simple that would be to fix what you're doing? Or like, I think it's hilarious.
Yeah,
I'll like go fly fishing with people or like something, and then like, are you sure you know what you're doing?
Yeah,
no,
the bait casting took me a bit too. Like, you had to get that drag right. I use them for trolling a lot more now.
But I find that one of the biggest things with me is like with the bait caster thing, because I switch lures a lot, and I also make sure I know which way the wind blows all the time. So I always forget to like adjust adjust things. So like I'll go from like a big lure to like a small lure and like not adjust anything,
Yeah,
and
you
it's like
can't do that.
bang. I'm like, oh, I got to cut off 50 feet of line. Like, good thing I know which way the wind's in.
That's what I don't like about them. That's why I'm total spin most of the time. Like I like them for trolling, just because they have
Yeah.
good drag and a good retrieve in,
Do you
like
bottom bounce
bouncing
with
and
them?
everything. Yeah, bottom bouncing. I love them for bottom
I've
bouncing.
noticed a lot of guys bottom bounce with them, eh?
Yeah, no, I love it because you can just drop it. You just hit the bottom, then you're
Yeah.
good. Lock it,
Yeah.
then your drag set, and it's perfect all the
Yeah.
time.
Boom, give them 10 more feet. Boom, give them 10 more feet.
Yeah. As soon as
Yeah.
you start bouncing off or go drop off, give it a little more.
Yeah, I should give that a run because like I did buy like a smaller one and I was thinking about giving it a run for it. I just never honestly did. Carbon X, yeah, absolutely Carbon X. I think I got so Carbon X, Auric, Viper, Honor XT, you name it. I think the only one I don't have is the Flame.
Yeah,
Or is there a Flame? Is that I
there
could be
is a
completely
flame.
wrong. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, the flame is one of their lower end ones for sure.
Yeah, and like the
I'd
Viper is one of
recommend
their Their
going up.
Viper is one of their lower end ones, and I have that paired
I'd
up with
go
that
up to the
10-foot
Viper.
light slip bobber rod.
Mm.
And so one of the key things with that 10-foot slip bobber rod, obviously, is having a solid drag system to work with the rod. Otherwise, you'll break the rod or break the fish off. And that Viper, I think I $34.99. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Absolutely flawless. 2 years running now. No problems with it at all. So really great rod or reel. I do really like the Carbon X. Absolutely. It's incredible. It's their highest end of their price point. The one that I am most happy with, though, I'll tell you, is the Auric or
Oh yeah.
Oris or it's a new one this year. I've seen it. It
Yeah, I
just come
think
out this year,
I
and
never had that.
it's cheap. It's very well built. The top drag knob is the exact same as the Carbon X. Um, all around, just a solid reel. It's black, so it'll go with whatever fancy pants you need to put it on. Just absolutely outstanding. But yeah, the Carbon X, I mean, I've had my Carbon X, I think, for 3 seasons, ice, and like I said, I'm fishing it through ice and open water. It's still around today, and a couple not knocking Shimano. Shimano makes a great product. But the Shimano Nasky purchased at the same time, and the Shimano Sedona purchased at the same time. More expensive by a little bit. They had to get retired this year. The drags are just burnt out on them. And like I say, that's not a knock on Shimano. Those reels did their job, but that Piscofun Carbon X, man, that is a solid unit through the ice or the open water season, which is unfortunately coming to an end. Drop some comments so that Mitch has to pop them up when he gets back. But what kind of like broad info or whatever info? What do you guys want to know? Otherwise, I'll just ramble on about stuff that I kind of like, and maybe that helps you, maybe it doesn't. But if you have something below, I can go till 9 o'clock if Mitch wants to go till 9 o'clock. But you guys let us know. So
Yeah,
Mitch,
no.
they're gonna let us know what info they want below.
Sweet. Yeah, my favorite's probably the Honor XD. I
Yeah,
love big on that thing. It's insane.
yeah.
And then I saw there's the new ice reel too, the inline
Yeah.
that came out.
And there's a new Carbon X too. So
Yeah, I
that'll
like
be
the Carbon X in my 500. I use it on my ultralight and for ice fishing.
oh yeah.
So it's that smaller reel, but it's perfect for like 10 feet ice fishing and fishing those low streams.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome.
Right on. Yeah.
But yeah, that's enough about pissy fun.
Yeah. Can't plug them too hard here.
No. J-Nap wants you to come up white fishing on Sylvan.
Whitefish Talk Show is out, and I'll join the convo. I can't give a entire hour of whitefish knowledge. I'm not that whitefishy, but I do love whitefish. And honestly, I mean, fly fishing the end of the season. I mean, I haven't been on the streams now 2 or 3 weeks, 3 weeks, I think. So I have no idea what's going on. So my information is not relative, but it could be. So nymphing Rockies, the end of the season here. Wow, was that ever fun, man? Like some really big fish. Just they're absolute scrappers. And just nymphing is just such a fun method, and it's such a good method for catching them. If you want to have a blast of a day, learn how to nymph. Dry fly fishing is a blast. Dry dropper fishing is a blast. But if you can nymph really well, whitefish your whitefish numbers are going to go up big time. Not only are they going to go up big time, but just your numbers in general, trout numbers, what have you. But like I say, that refers right back to where we were talking earlier, where Ryan asked using flies through the ice. Same thing. You've got that nymph or that chronomid, and it's above that spoon, and you're on whitefish. J-naps, E-ties, wireworms. Exact same thing as a nymph, basically. Acting the exact same way for whitefish. So that's like the extent of my whitefish knowledge.
Yeah, no. I hit up the Red Deer last weekend. Actually, I went out to the acreage, came back, and I sent a message to my buddy after we're antelope hunting. And it was his baby shower. So he wasn't allowed there or whatever. And I was like, hey, you want me to pick you up? Never got a message. Then I went and to a whitey spot, and sure enough, he was sitting over there already fishing. We caught a bunch of whiteys on the fly. It was awesome. Stacked up there. The bigger guys weren't moving, but we caught some nice chunkers for sure.
Huh.
Just on like
this bait is been sitting at room temperature, and it looks like it's frozen. That stuff's ready to go on a hook, dude. Also, I just want to say this. Okay, so when you buy a tub of minnows, how many of them are thicker around than your thumb and longer than thicker around than your pinky, although they're probably thicker around than my thumb and longer than it as well.
It's chunkers.
And you're a Midwest boy. Anyone who is still on this podcast listening, leave your silver shiners at home. They're useless. They're cute. They're nice. They're not what big fish want to eat. They're not what little fish even want to eat. They just eat them because they're there. You want to catch big fish and like consistently catch big fish, use chubs that you catch and go trap. Like seriously, go buy yourself a trap on Amazon. Buy yourself some dollar store dog food. Tell the lady at the till you're not actually feeding it to a dog because she's probably looking at you funny. And then go set your trap in a creek or a place where you know that there's like big fat heads or creek chubs. That is what big fish eat. Like the amount of silver shiners that cruise through a lake that like really big fish aren't paying attention to is phenomenal. The bait clouds that you don't get, like you don't see bait clouds, like you just don't always see them. They're in the weeds, on the weed line, whatever. You don't see them down your hole through the ice fishing. They're there. There's constantly bait clouds all over the lake, and it doesn't mean they're always getting eaten so much as like the big fish, like the little fish will constantly attack them, right? It's bait, duh. But the big fish are like, they know where they can gorge and where they can use the least amount of energy to gain the most amount of energy. That's like the entire goal of a fish's life is to be as lazy as possible while getting as fat as possible. That's all they care about. They care about eating, and that's it. That's all a fish's life is eating. And then for salmon, it's like once in their lifetime they go on a date, and other fish they go on a date once a year. Like we're much more complex creatures than fish are. So feed them what they want, not what you think they want, which is like, oh, a silver shiner. Well, how many of our silver shiners that we buy in the store come from Alberta lakes? None. You know what comes from Alberta places? And this is the messed up thing. I have to label my bait and know my stacks because you have to use it in the same water.
Yeah.
So I have to
Well,
trap things for trout, I have to trap things for walleye, and I have to trap things for the rivers.
yeah.
That's why my freezers are so full, because everything has to be so complicated. But like it's just basic. Like, where do you get your suckers from? Okay, yes, I'll admit to you right now, my suckers don't. I catch my suckers and they're probably not from the same body of water if I'm going to use it, because there's just so many piles of suckers. But if I'm guilty of transferring whatever, lock me up. I don't care. Um, but like your minnows and stuff like that, you should be a lot more careful of. Now, we're not fishing with anything live, so you're probably not introducing anything unless you are fishing with it live, which you're already breaking the rules anyways. But just try to keep it to the same body of water.
For sure.
But the bigger ones are the
Brandon
more important. Like, seriously, the bigger ones are the more important things. And there's chubs and dace in every body of water in Alberta because the government put them there, or there was flowing water into there at one point. They're there. There's like very few that at least in southern Alberta, there is very few that I have found where my traps don't eventually work. You just have to find spots. Like there's easy ways to figure it out. Use culverts. If there's a culvert on a lake, it creates current through the culvert. There are good spots to set traps. Weed lines, good spots to set traps. But it's got to be like weeds on rocks kind of thing. Weeds on sand is almost useless. I found in my trapping, anyways. What was that question that was there? Sorry.
Yeah, Brendan, 2-inch tubes were great. Like, they're very versatile size. Like, most bait fish are around that 2-inch size, so you can use them for all that. Big rainbows will eat them up, walleyes, pike.
The nice thing about
All
tubes is
those
they're
fish
full
are
bodied.
just opportunists, so you put it in
Yeah.
front of them, they're going to grab it, especially in that early ice season and late ice or non-ice.
Like you gotta think like, and like that's the other thing is like not every lake is a 3-inch tube jig. Like 3-inch tube jigs work in a lot of lakes, but sometimes only the big ones are gonna eat a 3-inch tube jig because it's kind of like, oh, there's something big. And it's not always about catching big fish. Like let's get real with that one right now. Sometimes you just want to go out and catch numbers. So like if I go to a brookie pond and I put on a 3-inch white tube, perfect. I'm targeting big fish. But if I just want to go and get some fish because I'm like, okay, like, yeah, okay, it's slow, it's been a struggle. It's like, okay, we'll go down to the 1.5 atomic teaser or a 2-inch if I can find a 2-inch if I have them at that point in time. 2 inches like actually like perfect size for stock trout. Like you just kind of gotta move it around and adjust accordingly to what the fish are telling you.
Yeah, 100%.
But
Just
I'm
watch
always a
out on
big
those.
bait guy. Like I don't know, like I really don't fish small ever.
Yeah, just watch out on like a lot of our lakes out here. There's a lot of bait bans, so those atomic power baits you can't
Yeah.
use. So just watch that.
Some of them you can. You have to look at the back of the package.
Yeah. You just have
On
to make
Berkeley,
100%
yeah.
sure.
Like
You don't
the
want to
nice
get
thing
busted.
about Berkeley, yeah, exactly. Because that's the crappy thing. So like you'll look at the thing about Berkeley that's confusing is it'll say like Berkeley power bait, but then when you look on the back, there's a little like diagram thing. Sorry, and like this one's unscented. So it's like they're like use the same name for a product that doesn't necessarily have what any product in it. You know what I mean? So yeah, like Mitch says, just be careful. Like bacon infused tube jigs, great product for a lot of lakes. But just like say you're going to Kananaskis or Spray or what have you, like you can't use them there. So
Yeah.
I always appreciate. Have you done a YouTube video trapping chubs? If not, I definitely can. I made one fishing them, but I kind of have my hesitancy to put it out just because minnows and chubs, like I'll tell you guys how to do it, but I'll never tell you guys where I set my trap, like specifically, like you know what I mean. Like I'd never be like, oh, I go to Lake Newell Canal and I set my trap in there. Like because if I give you a direct location where to set a trap, you're gonna go there and set a trap, and then it blows my spot. And minnow trapping is like one of those things where if you blow a spot, it's
It's
like
like
if you
walleye
trap it
fishing.
too much, you burn it out, and it turns off.
Like
Like
any fishing.
I do because I do it to myself. Like I'll burn spots out intentionally almost. Like okay, I need 200 minnows. Boom, pull the trap. I got 50. Okay, I know that this is going to be a good trap. Put 2 traps in, load them up. Boom, I'm set. It's done.
Yeah.
I wish you could get a license in Alberta to sell bait because I actually really enjoy it. I'll make a video of definitely setting up my trap and I'll put it in like a random location and do it like that and just kind of like break down a random location that I don't necessarily use. And maybe it'll become a future spot for myself or someone else. But yeah, I can definitely do that. But yeah,
Do
like
you
I
ever
typically, that's one of the things I'm quiet about is where I go get my bait.
use the net?
Do I ever what?
Use the throw net.
No. I've never used a throw net, but I wish we could do this here. Back when I was a little kid, there's like a little bit of native in my blood. So we used to go down with the natives and you could try. So I was too young to do it because the water would have been way over my head. But they would walk out. I'm from Sarnia, Ontario, and there's St. Clair River there. So one guy would walk 100 feet out with a net, and then the other guy would walk maybe 10 feet offshore, and they would walk in a crescent, and they would like, oh man, the amount of smelt that would turn up in those nets. If I could do that and do that with minnows, I think I would have to do it one time, and I'd be set for 2 years.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, but that's what
Um,
walking net,
are the
but
throw
not a
nets
throw.
allowed here? I guess it would you just have to buy one that's size.
Yeah. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure you can use a throw net here.
Oh, I
Because you
think
can
I
only
lost
throw
you.
so far. You can only throw so far with those. It's not like crazy netting. You're only covering so much feet.
Yeah, like I think you just have to adjust the size accordingly.
Yeah. I don't think you can
Yeah.
run like netting you're talking about, but I think you might be able to get a
Yeah.
throw net. Not 100%.
Yeah, as long as it's in the size restrictions, I don't see a problem with it.
But who knows?
Yeah.
You have to look up all
You just
that.
have to call and find out.
Yeah, because I've never done any of that stuff, so
I don't think I
I
have
know
the
the low
coordination
flop.
for throwing. Like I would definitely spook everything in the area and fall over and probably net myself with a throw net.
Yeah,
I
that'd
much
be an
prefer the
entertaining
drop-in
video then.
style with the dog food. Although at the end of the day, this I get home and I'm like, okay, straight in the shot. Like once I get it sorted, because I have to sort it into bags like that. Once I get it sorted, I'm like, get me in a shower as fast as possible because all you can smell is dog food and it's horrible. You smell like wet dog food. It's disgusting.
Chris is saying it's illegal to use one.
I have one and I haven't used it. I actually bought it to catch carp and found out it was legal. That's a throw net?
Yeah.
Oh. That's lame.
Yeah, because they're only so small and you only cover so much area.
Yeah, like that's what I would think is like because I'd have to look at the thing for the exact dimensions again. But I would figure as long as you're within the dimensions, you're within the dimensions.
Yeah, who knows? Like all these things, like throw nets, I think were okay at one time, but
I think it's probably I think I would if I would have to play what their probably thought process would be is you have no ability to target. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like if you throw that into deep water, you can't specifically target minnows.
deep water
Whereas
for
like
sure.
a minnow trap can like okay, you could catch a rainbow in it or a perch or
So,
a walleye, but it would have to be awfully small. And you can let it go because it's been stuck under the water. It's been in the water the whole time. I'm not sure of their exact thought process.
yeah, like I can see it like when you're in shallow, you see the shiners and you just throw it at it. There's nothing else around in the flats. But who knows? That's
Yeah,
Alberta for you.
like to a guy like me or you, it makes sense. Like you could easily target the shiners, but to them, they're not the sharpest.
Yeah. Who knows?
Hell, they can't even catch sturgeon for the program.
Well, some of the crew wasn't the greatest they brought on this year, but
Is there going to
that's
be a sturgeon
another
tagging
story.
program next year? Do
Pardon?
you know? Do you know if there will be a tagging program next year?
I'm assuming there will be. I don't know anything about it because I'm not really a sturgeon guy.
I'd like to be
But
a part of that, but yeah, because yeah, they
Hey, everybody. I don't know if we're still on. I think we maxed out all of our stuff. We maxed out our time. I sent Adam a link. We're just going over the netting thing. We don't know 100% if it's legit, but we can look into it. I know the traps are okay, so that's all gravy. But you see all those shiners running the banks and stuff. You would think it'd be okay because you can locate that body of shiners and stuff, unless they just don't think the numbers are up on certain lakes. You think they're designated to different lakes, but we'll see. We'll look at the regs tonight, and I'll get back to you. Adam's supposed to come back. I sent him, I think I relinked him. Hopefully I relinked him, but who knows? Anybody have any other questions for this evening? I know we've gone double overtime, so it's gone crazy tonight. We went so long, so much information. I appreciate everybody for being here. If you didn't pick up stuff from this show, you should probably you might want to stop fishing, because there is so much information on this. But I'm going to see if Adam's going to make her. He may be gone. Oh, he's back.
Apparently, I lost connection with my toaster.
I thought we went over hours. We doubled time.
I think my phone was like, dude, you're releasing in knowledge you shouldn't be releasing.
Yeah, I think there was so much knowledge dropped on this show.
This was a good one, dude. I think this was a really good one.
Oh, 100%. If you're not catching fish off this show, maybe you should stop fishing and start knitting.
No, don't say that. You should go to our YouTube channels, rewatch the information spoken, give us a like, a thumbs up, and a subscribe, and then go try again.
Yeah.
Because one thing about fishing is if you don't keep going, it's not going to work out. You're not going to learn anything, and you're not going to get better. Because the only reason that I catch the fish that I do is because I go fishing so much, and because I'm understanding. Okay, this. Like during walleye wars, for instance. Walleye wars, I was like, hey, Adam, you know that if you go to where a tributary flows into the river at this time of the year, big walleye are gonna be there. So I went and I go, okay, I'm throwing paddle tails, I'm throwing wraps, I'm throwing everything I should be throwing at this time of year, and I'm like, why am I not getting an eat? And I go, okay, I'm gonna put a big chub on. Maybe they're behind and they're still eating real slow. Boom, big fish. Okay, cool. Keep fishing. Caught a sturgeon. Caught another walleye. I'm like, okay, gotta try this again tomorrow. Go back down. Boom, exact same pattern. I'm like, hey, this is what time's showing up. 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock's rolling up. I'm like, I gotta have that big chub in that same area. Boom, big fish again. I'm like, dang, we got a pattern. Sick, we're moving. Fish shut off. I'm like, okay, whatever. The same thing happened the night before. I'm like, okay. Go back the next day. My buddy's like, oh, my buddy came with me this time. And all this respect to my buddy, he goes, oh, maybe it was just an off night for the paddle tails and the rapalas. And I go, no, dude, I think there's a pattern here. And he's like, no, I'm going to fish paddle tails. Throwing paddle tails right past me. And it's all good, but nothing, right? Like maybe some small sauger, I think, and a couple pike. But it's like, boom, 30-incher again. He's like, no way. How'd you do that? No way. I'm like, chubs, man. Like, you got to fish a chub right like now. I'm like, okay. Next night, 8 o'clock again. I'm like, hey, big chub, same spot. Boom. Pattern repeats itself. You have to pay attention. You have to, and for me, there's too much stuff going on in my head with the different fishing, and because I'm always after different species, I have to write things down. You have to remember times, temperatures, bait, whether it's paddle tail, bait itself, Rapalas. These are 3 things you have to know: temperature, time of day and year, and the bait. And every year, patterns will repeat themselves 2 to 3 weeks. It just plays back and forth. It's 2 to 3 week play period. Unless we have some dramatic seasons changing in Canada over the next few years, it's the same thing within 2 or 3 weeks every year. I stick to it myself, and it seems to work pretty good with me. Do it for yourself.
100%. 100%. You gotta, if you keep the journal, like light will play a big factor, but not as much as temperature these days. Like,
yeah, water temp is your Bible. It is.
Mm-hmm.
Water temp tells you exactly when things are happening. Do you want to know when? Like, not many places you can fish walleye in Alberta, right? While they're spawning. Sorry.
Yeah.
But you want to catch, like, if you have the opportunity, do you want to catch them while they're spawning? You better know the temperature, because once it hits spawning temperature, you miss the boat.
Yeah.
And you're catching pre-spawn walleyes after that, and they're skinnier than they were a week ago. And it's 2 degrees. Like, I have to look in my Bible to know when it is on certain lakes. But I know, and I go and I do it, and patterns repeat themselves. Like, I don't catch, like, I don't want to say I do catch big fish by fluke sometimes, like everybody does. But a lot of times when I catch big fish, it's because I'm doing something that I'm absolutely 100% confident and studied in. And it's like, okay, I got to do this. Boom, it works. Even if it's like, people will be like, and this is what my buddy said to me that night when I caught a 30 and a quarter. His PB river walleye is 27 and a quarter. Beautiful fish. I beat it 4 nights in a row. 2 of them were right in front of him. And multiple times he was making snarky remarks about using bait. Especially in competition, I don't care what you want to do. I care what the fish want to do. And that's the biggest thing you have to remember when you fish. You can't fish memories, and you can't fish what you want. It's as simple as that. Because if you do either of those things, you're lowering your odds, and odds get really low really fast.
Didn't TLC make a song about chasing waterfalls?
Yeah. Don't go. Rest in peace, Left Eye.
Yeah. No, you always have to adjust. I know this year's crazy. The water temperatures are low. Everything's slow this year.
We're 3 weeks behind. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh.
We're 3 weeks behind on everything this year.
All the rivers just had a cluster of hatches. It was nuts. Mm-hmm. It was just cluster. It's like, oh, so what do you think's hatching now? Everything. That's what hatched this year. It was nuts.
Like, I'm catching rainbows on beetles in the driving snow.
Yeah. No.
The fish have no idea what is going on right now. But if you fish them like they should have been fishing 3 weeks ago, you're on the right track.
Yeah, you'll be.
And not that there's gonna be much of a change right now in the next few weeks, regardless, because they're trying to put on that winter weight. And like, that's the other key thing is, like, so I've been doing all this open water fishing and on these trout ponds, right? It's an opportunity I've been afforded with all this weather. So you're seeing these rises and you're seeing this and that, and you're noticing locations. Those locations haven't changed in 2 weeks. I promise you that. In 2 weeks, if you go out there right now and you hammer walleyes, in 2 weeks when you go on for first ice and you want to hammer walleyes, go back to that exact same spot. They're gonna be there. It might not be the same fish, obviously, but they're gonna replay that pattern right now. So if you want your biggest first ice tip, find out where the fish are now, and they're gonna be there when you get on first ice.
For sure. Well, we've doubled our time.
Yeah.
There's so much information on this show. It's ridiculous. Like, insane. People are going to catch fish like crazy. And they're going to be like, oh, I'm sorry, we're catching too many fish. And then we'll have to do a fish show about catching less fish because everybody bonked everything. And then we're going to have to do a show about conservation, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I'm gonna get this going for a few more seconds. This is hilarious. There was an article this summer, and Fly Lords posted it. Believe it or not, it's the fly fishing community asking anglers, recreational anglers, like I guess you're a guide too, but like guys like me who aren't like, or if you're not guiding the river, to not nymph with indicators because you need to leave those fish for the clients because clients do best when they nymph under indicators. What did I read? What?
That's
It
horrible,
was
man.
hilarious.
That
So yeah,
is
just
brutal.
if you're really hammering them, guys, cut the hook off and just let the fish eat your jig head or whatever and spit it back out. Maybe set the hook and
Yep. Save it for the paying clients, everybody. We don't want.
If you guys can though, go on Mitch's YouTube, like this video, comment on this video, and subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. It's a little red button. Boom. Click on it. Then do the same to mine. Because that's the only way you're ever going to see my social media stuff ever again.
Yeah, head over to the Horseshoe Kid. You got to get on there. It's always jam-packed with stuff. And
yeah, I'm doing shorts right now. I'm on a little short kick.
You've been on the short little you've been dropping shorts like crazy, like 3 or 4 already this week.
Can I tell you why? So I'm not monetized, like I say, and like whether I ever get there or not, I don't have the subscribers. I don't have any of that stuff. Just because I don't know. I like making videos for me. Anyways, YouTube is actually going to start paying people for their shorts because in the past, if you made a short, it didn't count towards your watch time. And now it's going to count towards your watch time. So it's actually going to make people a lot of money, especially like big YouTubers when they make shorts. Now, for me, the interest in it, as well as it's gained me quite a few subscribers and it gets a lot of people viewing that normally wouldn't see your stuff because a lot of us, you just go down the wormhole of shorts. For me, it's more like, okay, this is so like you can see I'm still out there because right now I haven't been releasing full length vids. But it's not because I'm not filming them. I'm just very, very busy filming. I'm very, very busy at work. And I know that when early January, kind of February, depends when I'm burbot fishing, I'm going to have a lot of time where I sit around. Open water season, I'm very lucky to live in a city that has a lot of great river fishing right here. When it comes to ice season, I got to drive an hour anytime I want to go. So I can't fish every day. It's just not realistic by the time I get off work and all that stuff. So it's gonna afford me more time to edit, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's a good tactic. Like it
Yeah, and
gets
then I can stack and like when I'm shooting sturgeon videos, they're very easy and quick to edit. It's like I'll just pick a couple of the bigger fish of the day and boom, stack those clips. It's done. And they take like an hour and a half, 2 hours to make, depending how much B-roll I want to put in there. Some of the other stuff like fly fishing stuff and like I made the golden trout video. It's just got a lot more depth and vlog sort of
100%.
element to it. So they just take a lot longer to edit. So it'll be nice to have them stacked because then I can have a year worth of videos to put out just set on premieres where I don't have to worry about it and I don't have to pay attention to it because like if you know me, I hate social media. Like I hate it. Um, So if I can stack everything up and just put it there and then not worry about it and just film my videos, and then if I want to jump on my computer and edit some of them, it's good to go. And then I can just upload 50 at a time and set them to premiere once a week, and I'm set, right? Don't have to focus on it. And then just do the shorts thing because the shorts thing's fun. You can just put a silly song over some video and 5,000 people for some reason watch it. Like I don't get it, but it's hilarious.
No, it's good. It's 100% what we do. Just showing people what we love, right?
One thing I wish John was still around because if there was anyone who understood YouTube's algorithms and stuff like that, it was Vlogger John. So if you guys aren't subscribed to his channel, go over there and subscribe to it because it is monetized and it does make his family money. And the dude's hilarious, and I'll always have those great memories. Watch that guy. So go subscribe to that one too.
100%. Great guy, lots of knowledge, and he doesn't care if people know where he's fishing. He'll tell you where he's fishing so you can get out there and get on some fish. 100%. So make sure you get over there, subscribe to him so his family gets that money. And make sure you get over to Adam's site, Horseshoe Kid. Subscribe. Adam, where can they find you elsewhere?
Honestly, like to be honest with you, there is a Horseshoe Kid Instagram account. To be honest with you, if someone like I would rather someone run it. I'm not interested in social media anymore. Just really not at all. So like I post on like a personal Instagram, which I'm not really going to give out because I don't want anyone. It's not like anything against anyone. It's just like family stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like if you guys could hop on my YouTube, that'd be cool. I'll upload shorts there. I gonna do videos. I try to make pretty good videos for you guys and knowledge in them. And eventually, like, because I do make merch for myself, maybe I'll make some merch and sell it on there, or not sell it, or give it away to you guys for something or something like that, or I'll do something cool like that because don't really care about making money off any of you guys. I just want to help you guys out to catch some fish because if it wasn't for my grandpa teaching me, and if it wasn't for Tom Bowley and guys like that and the Jensens, I would be lost. So any of their information or anything that I learned I can pass along, I'm glad they do it.
100%. So get on to his YouTube channel because that's where you can find him pretty much. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe, like videos, add a comment. It helps everybody. If you want to follow more of me, I got a new whitefish video coming out on the
Heck
fly.
yeah, you do.
I'm gonna slide in some whitefish or ice fishing stuff on that too. So I'm gonna go over some fly patterns to use and whatnot, and how to deal with them. Because whitefish are aggressive,
But
and
they're also picky.
you just have to know how to run them.
Yeah.
So as long as you can run them, you're gonna catch more fish. So tune into that. Tune in to us Tuesday I was supposed to be mule deer hunting, but I think we're leaving the next day now. So I'll be down south on Wednesday. So we'll probably have a show Tuesday, unless I'm too busy packing. But I'll let you know. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you didn't get knowledge out of here, I don't know what you're watching. Maybe you should turn up the volume. And if you couldn't hear, watch the lips. Like, this was the same show. There was so much knowledge dropped. You learned something from this show. I'm 100% sure. Thanks, Adam, for being on. Love you, buddy.
Thanks,
It's all
Mitch.
great to have you on.
And thank
Cheers.
you to everybody who, if you stuck around for 2 hours and 15 minutes, you're a legend. I appreciate you. Thanks, guys. Take care.